What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trade or Die. Wanted to sit down and do a Bitcoin update video. So we did lose the 100-week moving average, and we had quite a dump when we did that. Obviously, this trend line I was talking about in previous videos, we lost that trend line, which was a major support there at the 100-week moving average. I wanted to point out kind of the trajectory of the 21 here in yellow, and how it is almost coming straight down into the 100, which could, potentially give us another dump here in the near-term future. And that will probably, the dump will happen before that crosses. So that's just something to be aware of. I also wanted to point out too that on non-log chart, we did front run this 200-week moving average here. So I'm fully anticipating that we come down at least at minimum to have that. Now, if we pull a measured move off of this head and shoulders here, we're looking at, roughly 45K. And I would say between 40 to 50 in that range, but I mean, looking at the previous cycle, we dropped below the 200-week moving average here, and stayed below it for quite some time, several months. So I guess that's something I'm, anticipating. This golden pocket sits right here. And then the 786, which, the previous cycle, we came down and swept that 786. So, coming down and tagging that trend line might be something that we do. And I was looking at that on the logarithmic chart and how we also kind of front ran the 200 and this overall macro trend line, and I try to get that in there without cutting it into any price action. So it's pretty tight. I mean, and so I would almost anticipate that we come down and at least tap this trend line, and we might wick down similar to this, into this 45K range. So, and going down to this indicator here, our money flow here is in the red, has gone negative, which, on the weekly chart, that's only happened. This is the third time since it's been able to track on Coinbase here. So, and that's the bear market when it goes like that, when we're decompressing from a bigger run. So, and looking at the 21 here, it doesn't look like the trajectory is that bad. It almost looks a little bit more mild than this previous cycle, and maybe even, the cycle prior to that. So I just kind of wanted to look at that. We got, our stochastics and the RSI, facing south. This momentum wave hasn't bottomed out on the weekly, so I fully anticipate lower, near term, within the next couple of months. I think maybe, it seems like this cycle is almost accelerated compared to previous cycles. Like, we're coming down to the 200 fast, and that didn't, it took several weeks, a couple months, to get down there, and we just shot right down. So, who knows, maybe this is just playing out a lot faster than we anticipated, based on previous cycles. Go down to this daily here and just kind of take a look. I mean, we're still, deep in the red on the daily. It looks like it kind of has bottomed, but it could just fucking roll over here, we got, this is full bear market range on our moving averages. So this 21's taking a nosedive here and hasn't quite given us this curve up that we like to see. So once that 21 on the daily curves up, you know, I might call it a bottom, but I definitely don't think we have quite bottomed here yet. Did we end up getting back above? Yeah, we're back above this golden pocket. So, I mean, we could hold some support here, but, you know, this money flow coming on the daily, you know, there's really no bullish divergence forming. Yeah, it's 12 hours deep in the red. I mean, it's trying to recover, but I don't see 4 hours trying to poke its head up. Even this looks like it's forming a bearish divergence on this move up. So, you know, price is making higher high, momentum's making a lower high, so, or is it making a higher high? But we got bearish momentum forming here. Money flow is still in the red, so this push up didn't get us where we need to be. Anyways, I'm not here to say I told you so, but if I was making a told you so video, this would be it. We talked about this trend line crossover. We talked about losing this 100-week moving average. We talked about coming down to the 200. We talked about going below the 200. Weekly money flow is still in the negative. Weekly momentum has not bottomed. So just wanted to do a little update for everybody, anybody who's paying attention out there. Yeah, this is just another cycle. I've been through them all. So hope everybody's sitting on some gains and you know, scalp long and swing short, baby. Anyways, that's all I got. Peace.